studying last Thursday, okay, you would have completed the lesson on parallel lines as well as transversal and covered and understood what are certain things like alternate angles, corresponding angles, and interior angles. Okay, so I want to just recap on it, okay, by making sure that you have filled this out correctly. Okay, so when we learned about alternate angles, interior angles, and corresponding angles, okay, it is not limited to having our parallel lines. Okay, when there are no parallel lines and a transversal is a line that passes through it. Okay, so in such instances, right, okay, we also have corresponding angles, alternate angles, and interior angles. Just that the property doesn't apply. Xavier, I don't know what are you doing. Okay, so the property of the alternate angles whereby they are equal and corresponding angles whereby they are equal, and for interior angles the sum of them is 180 degrees. It does not apply when the lines are not parallel. Okay, only when it is parallel lines, then the property actually applies. Right? So let's just recognize, okay, what are corresponding interior and alternate angles first. Okay, so the first point is to identify your corresponding angles. Okay, for corresponding angles, relate it to corners and it must be matching corners. Okay, so around a certain point, okay, the top left hand corner will match with the top left hand corner, top right will match with top right, bottom right will match with bottom right, and bottom left will match with bottom left. Okay, so one of the pairs that we can recognize will be angle A and angle Y. So this is one pair that you can have. Okay, we can also see the same one on the other diagram whereby at the bottom right corner we have A and at the bottom right corner we have Y. So they are actually equal, okay, when there is parallel lines. But when it's not parallel lines, very clearly they are not equal. Okay, other examples of corresponding angles that we have would be maybe B and Z, okay, C and W, and the last one will be D and X. Okay. Questions? Okay. Then we also have alternate angles and interior angles. So because I want the diagram to be shown on the screen, I'll write it on the side here. Okay. So the next one that we want to cover is on alternate angles. Okay, for alternate angles, what kind of shape do we recognize? What do we learn in primary school? Z shape, right? Okay, so we learn to recognize Z shapes. Okay, it can either be in this manner, otherwise in the other manner. Okay, and these are the two angles that we call alternate angles. Okay, so in this case, okay, the Z shape that we can have, one of which is like that, and we see B and X as one pair. Okay, another pair that we can have, right, if you're looking at this diagram, okay, the other Z will actually be in this manner where we have A and W. Okay, but of course, the same applies to the other diagram as well. So in this diagram we have A and W, and the other diagram we have B and X also. Okay, and then the last one, okay, we have is our interior angles. Okay, for interior angles, what is the shape that we have learned? Do you all remember any shapes that you all have for primary school? A C shape, right? Okay, so I think it depends on primary school, right? So we look for a C shape like that, okay, whereby this angle and this angle. Okay, yep. Didn't learn in primary school, why? I thought you all learn alternate interior and corresponding. No? Then how about some learn, some don't have?
Not included PSLE.
Not included PSLE. It is?
I can't remember.
I'm quite sure this one is covered in primary school one. Yeah. Your teacher already taught you alternate angles. I know you're all very good thing shortchanged by your primary school teachers. Then now I have to make up for all the gaps. Okay, now my interior angles, okay, C shape, either this C or the C also can. Okay. So in this manner. Okay, so anyway, don't care whether in the primary school you would have learned it for SLS, home-based learning last week. Okay, so one of the C's that we can have is here. When we find B and W as a pair of interior angles. Okay, and then the other way around is to have A and X. Okay, so I hope that your worksheet has been properly filled up and correctly filled up. Okay, for alternate angles and interior angles, these are the three pairs that is available. Corresponding angles will have 4 different pairs. Okay. Moving on. So as I mentioned earlier about the property of alternate angles, interior angles, and corresponding angles, it is only limited to when there are parallel lines. If there are no parallel lines, the property does not apply. Okay, so what are the three properties for alternate angles? Okay, the angles are actually equal, so abbreviation, the short form, is to write alternate angles, parallel lines. Okay, so an example to a question. Okay, so if I were to give you a question whereby there is a pair of parallel lines and a transversal like that, okay, and we're given that this is 51 degrees and we want to find x degrees, okay, then I can apply my alternate angles. Tell me that x degrees is equals to 51 degrees, and the reason that we must write is alternate angles, parallel lines. Okay, I kept getting questions asking me, do I have to write down the reason? The answer is yes, you must write down the reason. Okay, so that's why we learn the abbreviations. Okay, you short of one word, one letter, okay, so long as it is not the exact one, you will be penalized for it. Okay, so there should not be any deviation from what you're writing. Okay. Then we also have corresponding angles. So alternate angles are equal. Okay. For corresponding angles, likewise, they are also equal. Okay. The abbreviation that we will have is CORR dot angles parallel lines. Okay, you must mention about the parallel lines by the way, because as mentioned earlier, these properties only apply when there are parallel lines. If there's no parallel lines, okay, the property doesn't hold. Okay, so an example for corresponding angles. Degrees. Okay, how would we find y degrees? Yes, Asher. 180 minus 112. Why is it 180 minus 112? What reason are you applying? As the angle over here, right? Okay. So we need to clearly label in the diagram. Okay, hang on, Kelina. Alright, so we need to label in the diagram. So for presentation purposes, okay, you cannot just tell me 180 minus 112. Right, so I'll label in my diagram that maybe let's call this 8 degrees. That will be 112 degrees. Alright, and the reason is because corresponding angles parallel lines. Then we will find that y degrees is 180 minus 112 degrees. Okay, about 6. And such that we get 68 degrees. Okay, and what's the reason that we apply over here? Yes, Kitty?
Adjacent angles on the straight line.
Very good. Okay, adjacent angles on the straight line. Yes, you must write down the reason. Okay. Okay, Kama, I don't know why are you just watching me, right? You not have the notes. Then you just go and watch this. Okay, please write down on your notebook. Personal responsibility. Okay, questions? Right? And then there's the last one. Okay, which is on your interior angles. Okay, so for interior angles, they are not equal. Instead, what are they? They sum up to 180 degrees. Okay, so the short form that we will use is interior angles, comma parallel lines. Right, so an example. Again, with one pair of parallel lines. Okay. If let's say I have given that this is 145 degrees, maybe not. 132 degrees. Okay. Then I want to find out what is this angle over here. Let me call it angle Z. So you have Z degrees equals to 180 minus 132 degrees. And we get 48 degrees. Okay, and the reason that we use will be interior angles, parallel lines. So angle COB, how will you find your answer? Okay, Zero, can you tell me what is angle COB? Okay, 180 minus away 95.3 minus away 64.8. Okay, and that comes out to be 19.9 degrees. The reason they are applying property, adjacent angles on the straight line. Okay, thank you. Okay, so I hope that you can see how I go about presenting my answer. Where I write down, okay, what is it that I'm trying to calculate before I put in my calculations, okay, and then I add off. For this particular set, the reason, the property that I'm using is adjacent angles on a straight line. I cannot emphasize more that it must be adjacent angles on a straight line, okay, cannot be just angles on a straight line, right? So you must have the adjacent word over there, right? Looking at question 2, okay, we want to find out the value of C, right? But we have 2C over here and 3C over here. Okay, now let's learn how to actually go about presenting our answers. So in this case, we know that we apply our adjacent angles on a straight line property because this is a straight line as mentioned in the question. So the angles add up to be 180 degrees. So 2C plus 100 plus 3C will be equals to 180. And this statement itself, we applied our adjacent angles on a straight line property. Okay. By the way, I did not actually put in the degree sign since I'm writing an equation over here. So when you're writing an equation, okay, it is not necessary to put in your units. So with 2C plus 3C, we get 5C. 100, we can bring it to the right side. 180 minus 100. That gives us 80. So the subsequent steps, I need not put in my reasons anymore. Okay, because I have already applied it at the start. And then I find that C equals 80 divided by 5, and that gives us 60. Okay, so C itself is equals to 60. Also in your textbook, page 81. Okay, we want to find out what is A in this particular case. Alright, will someone tell me how will you start writing your answer? Alright, so Alyssa. And Joel is still lost. That is now in a new city arrangement, forgetting that Alyssa is behind. So, Joel, can you tell me, okay, how will you write your answer? Tell me what to write. Or maybe you can tell me what property are you going to use. I've listed all the properties on the right side of the whiteboard. First, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth. Cannot see. Okay, the rest of you are to think, okay, how will we actually present our answer and what property are we using? Which property? Adjacent angles on the straight line, angles at a point, number 2, or third one, vertically opposite angles. It cannot be the 4, 5, 6 because there's no parallel lines. One, two, three. Not sure. Need more time. Number 2. Okay, so Lucas has helped you to say that number 2. Okay, then maybe Lucas, can you help him out more? Okay, how are you intending to apply number 2? Angles at the point here. plus 58 plus 7a equals to 360. Very good. Okay, so for angles at a point property, we know that at a point, the angles around it will have to add up to 360 degrees. So this is the statement that we will write, okay, with the reason angles at a point. Right? Then we proceed with our calculation. So 148 plus 58, we know that that is actually 6, is it? Suddenly I can't remember my maths. Is it 206? 9, yeah. Where 206? Okay, plus 7a equals to 360. Okay, then 7a minus away 206 and we get 104. And a equals to 154 plus 7. Such that we get 22 as our answer. Okay. So we only need to apply that one property once only. Okay, you don't need to write it for every single sentence because the subsequent statements itself, they are all just manipulation and calculation from the start itself. Okay. Let's do one last one for question 2. Okay, for question 2, there are many ways that we can go about solving it. Okay, if I just want to apply my angles at a point, right? Okay, then I will be doing b plus 4b plus b plus 90 equals to 360. Okay, so if I want to apply angles at a point property, this will be how I will write it. Whereby 4 plus 1 plus 1, I will get 6b over here. 90, I bring it to the right, so I have 360 minus 90, and that is 270. So I'll find b equals to 45. Okay. Alright. Now, can someone propose to me how will you solve this question in another method? Yes, please. Okay. So, Rose says 4b equals to 180 because angles on the straight line. Okay. Well, by right it's adjacent angles on the straight line, but adjacent angles on the straight line tells us that the sum of angles add up to be 180. In this case, right, okay, 4b is just a single angle on the straight line itself. So, what we could actually write instead is that we just have to say that it is a straight angle. Okay. Once we learn that straight angle is just one single angle that is on the straight line, and that is 180 degrees, right? The question says that QOQ is a straight line. Okay, and then we can find b to be 180 divided by 4, and then we will get 45 as our answer as well. Okay, questions? Right? So let me give this point. I think just now I should also answer my question, right? Questions? Right? Looking at the time now, I think I cannot go on further. Okay? When we see each other tomorrow, do I see you tomorrow? Yes. Okay? We will continue and then we'll wrap up this chapter itself. Okay?